So we all know Fantasy Island was going to be terrible, but is it as terrible as everyone's making it out to be? Let's find out next. What's up, guys, and welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Blumhouse's Fantasy Island, the remake that is directed, of course, by Jeff Wadlow. Before we begin, please hit that subscribe button to join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell at the top to find out what's coming next, and comment below on any video that you watch, including this one. So here we have a horror version of the famous TV series Fantasy Island. It came out in the 70s, had Ricardo Montalban as Mr. Rourke and Hervé Vallechez as Tattoo. It was a fun TV show. It was very campy, very cheesy, had some dramatic moments. The fantasies that were played out were fun and kind of heartwarming and heartbreaking a lot of times, but it basically dealt with two characters that were able to basically grant wishes and grant fantasies for anybody who came to the island. But they weren't horrifying, they weren't ever scary, but they were, kind of cool to watch. So I don't have a problem with Jason Blum and Blumhouse doing a horror remake of this franchise. I really don't. I think it could be fun. It could be kind of unique and interesting. But that's not what's happening here. Jeff Wadlow, who's directing this, directed Truth or Dare, and that movie sucks. It's really bad, and this movie is no different. This movie has stupid decision making. This has like really poor character writing. The twists and turns that happen in this movie are so awful that you just like laughing at a point. But with that said, I knew what I was getting myself into. I had heard early reviews from certain people, you know who you are, but I wanted to do a review on this because I wanted to see how it compared to the other horror films that have come out this year. I'm going on a streak this year to see if I can find a good horror film, and that hasn't happened yet. And so I went into that mindset. I went into this movie going, we'll see how it turns out. And yes, it's awful. Yes, it's bad. Yes, it's really, really stupid. But I can kind of overlook that if it's a so bad it's good movie. The Grudge was just a bad movie, and The Turning was just a bad movie. But this movie is kind of trying to take itself seriously, but it's doing it so awfully that it becomes so bad it's good, and that can be a good thing. That can be a fun drinking type of movie, which this movie kind of is. But yeah, you have to go in that mindset because you won't enjoy this any other way. That's just the honest truth, and that's what I went in. I kind of enjoyed myself. It's way too long. It's an hour and 50 minutes. It should be like 85 to 90 minutes at the least, or at the longest. And yeah, I mean, it's basically the basic storyline is very similar to Fantasy Island. These five characters who have different pasts and backgrounds. They end up on Fantasy Island because they won the chance to live out their fantasies or their biggest desires, and those desires come in many forms and fashions. This fantasy island has been around forever, and there they meet a character played by Michael Peña, who plays Mr. Rourke in this film, and he gives them the ability to play out those fantasies, but they had to play it out to the natural conclusion, which could be any form or factor. The way it plays out could be any situation, and then it leads to a twist, which I really hated. But at first, everything seems fine. We have Ryan Hansen and Jimmy O Yang who play brothers, which is really strange, but they're adopted brothers, and they want to live out a fantasy where they basically have everything. They have anything and everything. They have all the hottest women, all the houses, all the just everything you can imagine, and it seems fine. They live out. You know, all the women are attracted to him. That's just the way it is. You have Aaron Stowell, who has always felt like a coward in most of his life. He wants to be the hero, so he wants to kind of compete or have a fantasy of being in a war setting, so he can like take care of trying to get past that cowardliness. And then we have Lucy Hale, who wants to get revenge on a person who like kind of like treated her really badly in high school and middle school and stuff like that. Which she's like the worst character in this movie. But then we have Maggie Q, who basically wants to live a fantasy or live an obsession of trying to correct a problem that happened in her past that involved, her once being proposed to be married and stuff like that. And it's an interesting, idea. Like those stories could be kind of cool, but then they start leaning into one another, they start slamming into one another, and everything becomes chaos. Everything goes out of control, and it becomes like a stupid mess. Like everything and how it plays out. At first everything's like kind of pieces and pieces, but then they start interconnecting with each other, and they start moving into one another, and it just becomes like a convoluted mess. None of these characters are really that fun to watch. They're very like very poorly written and very just stilted with their dialogue. Like I said, Lucy Hale is one of the worst performances in this movie. She is just over the top, and she's just mean, and her reasoning for wanting revenge on this woman. We all go through times, at least a lot of people, where we have bullies and we have people that mistreat us. But I'm not going to go to Fantasy Island wanting revenge on somebody who mistreated me like 15 to 20 years ago. Because, one, I don't remember those people. So, you know, how can you base your whole life about someone who just made fun of you? I mean, some people have different mindsets. This is not me. Like the Aaron Stowell character, I understand his drive for what he wants, but it doesn't come to a real observation, a real conclusion until you really find out why and what happened and why he feels like this. The Yang, and like I said, the Yang and Hansen character, they're just there as like relief. You know, Yang was in that like a boss, and he's basically playing the same character, but just more fleshed out, still not fleshed out enough. Maggie Hugh probably gets the most decent, best story because of what she really wants. You know, she was wanting to have a relationship, and she kind of made a mistake and said no, and she's regretting it. So she's given the ability to kind of correct that mistake. But I don't know. This movie just really bothers me every time you watch it. I know what I'm getting myself into, so I can't bother me too much. But like I said, there's stuff in here that could be a lot of fun if it's written better or directed better. When you throw in a person like Michael Rooker, who's in this movie, and you give him this weird hobo wilderness guy, and he's something like straight out of a comedy, it's just like, oh my god. And then we have these like villains who are part of the island who, you know, when you try to kill, they're not really killable, and they become goofy natures themselves. And the eventual conclusion about why this island does what it does and what this island possesses rips off a TV show that I really love. And if you watch the movie or you think about it, you know which TV show I'm talking about, and I won't spoil it. But there's a point in this movie where we find out why the island is what it is. And I'm like, yep, that ripped off that TV series. And I was almost kind of like wanting to jump off board. But, you know, I stuck with it, so it is what it is. But it eventually comes to a twisting point where the reason that everything is happening on this island, there's a reason behind it, and it is like one of the worst logical pinpoints I've ever seen in my entire life. It's not entire life, but it's been a while. I mean, Grudge had this problem and Turning had this problem, but you know, the decisions that are being made by these characters, the ideas and kind of motivations, it's just bad. And you know, even Michael Rooker, like I said, can't save this movie. Even Michael Peña can't save this movie. You know, Maggie Hugh can't save this movie, and nothing about this movie just works. But like I said, it's almost like a too good to be true type movie, or a, you know, so bad it's good type of movie. And Jeff Wadlow is just a terrible director. This movie's a terrible movie, and the music's terrible, the screenwriting is terrible, everything about this movie is terrible, and it's starting to show Blumhouse as kind of doing anything they want, and there's like no quality control sometimes, and it's starting to bother me because I talked about Whiplash, and I really respect Jason Blum for what he's doing, but when he puts out stuff like this or Truth or Dare or anything of that nature, I'm just like, are you trying to like ruin your company? I mean, what are you doing here? But in the end, it's all about making money. This movie will make a little bit of money, it'll make its budget back, so you know what, it is what it is. And then it leads to a possible sequel with the most ridiculous and stupid reasoning behind why a certain character stayed on the island. So there you go. That's my take on Blumhouse's Fantasy Island. I hate calling it Blumhouse's Fantasy Island, but it is what it's called. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite so bad it's good type of movie is. Like I said, this is probably could be for a lot of people. They probably enjoy it. You know, some people did walk out of the theater, so but anyways, thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell top to find out what's coming next. And comment below on any video that you watch my channel, including this one. Otherwise, hopefully we'll see you on a much better, much more entertaining film. Peace out. What's up, guys? Thank you so much for checking out Movie Emporium. I really appreciate it. If you want to, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification button and the bell at the top. Find out what's coming next for Movie Emporium. Also, check out these two videos. They're amazing. I think they're awesome. I think you'll enjoy them too. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.